In this video, I'm gonna teach you everything you need to be able to do crossovers and crossover double unders. Now, as a prerequisite to this, you need to have a good single under, which the pattern and position for single unders is pretty simple. We're just gonna have the hands down by the pockets, out in front of your body. The jump is gonna be a bounding jump, pushing through your toes and pointing down as you jump. Big circle, and we're just gonna do a little hop, rotating at the wrist. Once you've mastered single unders, I actually think it's a really good idea to start working the crossover single under before even moving on to the double under, because it teaches you to hold a really tight position. When we are doing singles, we want our hands just by our pockets here, and in order to do a cross effectively, we need to get these hands to the opposite side of our body, outside. And then when we uncross, we need to be very deliberate about bringing them back to here and not swinging them super wide. I think that the crossover can really help with your positioning and help your progression to double unders be a little bit easier. Now, if you cross and you don't go far enough to where the tip of the handle is not outside of your body, then you're gonna trip. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is just practice crossing deep enough. If you need to hollow out a little bit or hunch a little bit to get that length to happen, because if I just cross my wrists and stand tall, it's really hard for me to cross far enough. So that can help, but we just don't want to get into a really bad position. So try to stay as tall as you can, but hollowing out a little bit to make that cross happen a little deeper can definitely help. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're just gonna do a single crossover with a toe catch. Now we think about the rotation of the rope as being like 4 quadrants around your body. This would be quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. We wanna wait until we get the rope to about that 4th quadrant to jump, just like we would for a single under. Once the rope passes into the 4th quadrant, that's when we're gonna hop. So we wanna do the same thing when we're crossing, okay? So we're gonna cross late, big circle, late cross, and we're just gonna toe catch, okay? Look down, make sure that the handles are outside of your body, and practice that a couple times. The next step is just to jump through, and once you jump through, we wanna maintain crossed and allow the rope to come back over. So we're gonna be patient, cross late, and remain crossed. Now, before we start to uncross, I think it's a good idea to get really strong in this position to be able to rotate and turn the rope in that position. So what I like to see next is crossed single unders. So you're gonna do that first cross, and then you're gonna stay crossed and keep turning the rope. So that gets you used to being in that cross position and turning the rope at the same time. People make tons of mistakes when it comes to uncrossing the rope. What a lot of time we see is people will do this big open to try and get the crossover to happen. The best thing you can do is after you're crossed, you're just gonna take the point of your elbow and wrap it to your back. Okay, that'll keep everything nice and tight, and that's the motion that we wanna practice, keeping the elbow nice and tight and close to the body. We're gonna cross on the first rep and uncross on the second. Easy. So once you've mastered the crossover single under, then we want to move on to the double under. And the difference is really just in the timing. It takes a little bit more control from the rope and a little bit more control from your position, but it's really just a timing thing. For the crossovers, it's jump, cross, uncross, jump, cross, uncross. For crossover double unders, it's jump, cross, uncross, jump, cross, uncross, jump, cross, uncross. It's the same timing as you would go flick, flick for the double under. It's just cross uncross. When we do this double cross, I like to practice it with the first rep off the deck. So you're gonna turn the rope. Once it gets to the 4th quadrant, you're gonna just try and do a crossover. If it's sloppy, you jump really high, you pick your knees up, that's okay. We can always clean it up later, but we just wanna practice reps and reinforce the idea that we can complete these reps. So I'm going to do a big circle, wait until I get into that 4th quadrant, and then I'm gonna quickly cross, uncross, again, keeping the elbow close to the back. Looks like this. The rope that I like to use best for crossover work is the custom fit rope from RX Smart Gear with a buff cable. This is like, it's not a weighted cable, but it's a little bit thicker. I also have these technique trainers, also from RX Smart Gear. And if you want to pick up any of these, you can use my code Monroe Miller for a discount. But these are really great to use so you can practice the skill without overdoing it on the jumping. A lot of times what we see is people don't understand how this movement works, and they think that because it's a crossover, that it happens side to side. And so if these balls hit you, then you're not quite doing the movement right. So what we don't want to see is that. What we do want to see is this handle going into your pocket like you're sticking a sword in a sheath, and then we're scooping out. So we're making this motion to come back instead of just swinging from side to side. Okay, so these technique trainers, if we do them correctly, they should not hit your body. And that gets you used to practicing crossing without doing a whole lot of extra jumping. When I started to work on stringing crossover double unders, there's actually two different ways, which I wasn't aware of doing the crossover. So there's two cross uncross at the top of the jump, right? So you can either cross the first of those two reps, or you can cross the second. So we call this the open position. This is the cross position. So open cross looks like this. Cross open looks like this. If you start with a set of double unders, it's a little bit easier to start open cross. So this is a way that you can kind of start to build towards it, where we're doing doubles. And that's pretty much how I started working on my double under crossover. If you want a fun challenge to make sure that you really have mastered the skill, you can do all 4 double skills with a double under in between consecutively. So it's double, double under, double, open cross, double, cross open, double, cross cross. Watch me work. Double, 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 cross, double, open cross, double, cross, cross. When I did this, the way that I got it was by actually saying the words out loud. And I think this is undervalued, is actually saying cross double or open cross or cross cross. When you say those words out loud, there's a connection between your brain, your ears, your body that helps you complete those movements and kind of sort it out with your brain. If you have the skill of it, it's really neurological, and it's like you teaching your brain to do the right thing. So like I said, with all jump rope skills, don't get frustrated with it. If you feel like you are starting to get angry at the rope, you do a couple reps, you trip, you whip yourself, I would recommend practicing for no more than 10 minutes, right? Maybe like 6 to 7 minutes is perfect. You want to think about this like you're playing with it. So you want to play with this skill. You don't want to make it something where you're forcing your brain to try and figure it out. So I'd say maybe 6 or 7 minutes of practice, and then come back to it another day, and you'll see that you make progress really, really quickly if you're consistent with that type of practice. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope it was helpful. I hope it helps you get your first crossover or crossover double under. If you need personal help with getting these skills, you want coaching, check out Technique Team. I'll put a link in the description. If you want to check out another video from me, YouTube will recommend one right here. And thanks again for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.